Hello everyone, so for today we'll be discussing about the factors that affect the cleanliness of public toilet. As we know, public toilet is very essential because you know um, there is a term where we call that nature call, and when the nature call comes and public toilet is being used to fulfill your nature call. So that means you need a clean public toilet, so you will feel convenient when you use the public toilet. But recently, public toilet is not as convenient as it's supposed to be. There are many factors, but I believe this factor contributes a lot for the uncleanliness of public toilet. I strictly believe that the unstable water pressure is the main factor of the uncleanliness of public toilet. Why I say so? Okay, imagine I as a layman go to the public toilet because I want to, remove some waste from my digestion, the digestion product of my body, and then when I want to use the water pipe, and then the water pressure that comes from it is very low, and imagine how I want to clean it. As for me, I might use some initiative to clean it, but imagine for some irresponsible users, when they just leave it when the water pressure is not sufficient enough to clean their waste. Okay, second things, when about the toilet flush, when the water pressure is unstable, so the water supply for the flush is not sufficient enough. So when you want to flush your waste, so it will be difficult. And from that, when the waste still be in the toilet bowl, the toilet will look dirty and unclean. Okay, so that is the perspective from a layman. How about the workers or the cleaners? When the water pressure is unstable, so it is difficult for them to clean the toilet. Imagine when they want to clean the floor, it is very hard for them because the water pressure is very low, and how they want to clean all the floor in the public toilet. So they cannot clean it, and the result for that, the public toilet become unclean. So that is my point.
For me, I strongly believe that the uncleanliness of the public toilets is more affected by ineffective cleaning works by the cleaners. It is because, as we can see nowadays, even though the public toilet had been provided with high pressure of water or good condition of facilities, but the toilet is still dirty and in bad condition because the cleaning works is done by the cleaners. So if the cleaners have a bad attitude and lazy and not committed in their work, this is not make sense. And for example of the cleaners that did not commit in their works is they just wash the toilet with water and they did not throw the rubbish that is inside the toilet bowl or the sink and so on. So most of the public toilet also had organized a schedule for the cleaning works to do, to make sure the public toilet still in a good condition, still clean. So how if the cleaners themselves did not do their work properly and did not clean the toilet ineffectively? So the toilet will still in a bad condition, still dirty, and still smelly. So I think that the ineffective cleaning works by the cleaners is more affect the uncleanliness of the public toilet. Thank you.
My second point for the main factor that contribute to the uncleanness of public toilet also be contributed by the poor facilities of public toilet. So when we go to the public toilet and then we see that the water tap is broken, maybe because some factors or maybe because of the vandalism of the users, so the water tap is broken. And when the water tap is broken and the water will flow and it will make the floor become wet and soak, and then imagine when the floor is wet and soaked, so all the dirt on the floor will become visible to the eyes. I mean, yeah, and then it feels so disgusting to walk on the floor because it's very very dirty when the water flows to the floor. Okay, so the second example of poor facilities in public toilet is the water flush. Imagine that the water flush is not working properly, maybe is broken somewhere, and then you cannot flush your waste products, and it is so dirty and it is so disgusting to look. So I think that when the water flush is not working well, so it contributes to the uncleanness of the public toilet, because you cannot flush your waste and your waste is still there, and it will cause the unpleasant smell, and it is not convenient at all.
So, from my point of view, I think that irresponsible users can contribute to the uncleanliness of public toilet. Why do I say that? It's because it all comes from human actions themselves. For example, the men who smoke are one of the irresponsible users, which is dispose of cigarette butts into the toilet bowl. Can you imagine that when the nature calls come suddenly and you wanted to use the toilet, there are some cigarettes floating on the water inside the bowl. For me, it's very disgusting at all, and it can cut off my mood to use the toilets, and I am willing to continue to find a better toilet. And my second point is, can you picture the situation when you wanted to use the public toilet? There are a lot of damage on the public toilet facilities, such as water pipe or the flush tank. When the flush tank cannot function at all, you cannot wash your digestive system waste. Okay, for me, it's all for me. Thank you. Kami dah cerita.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Thank you for coming to our discussion today. So today we are going to discuss about the factors that contribute to the uncleanness of public toilet. For me, I think that the unstable water pressure is the main cause for the uncleanness of public toilet. Okay, imagine that when the water pressure is very low, and when after you use the toilet and then you want to clean it, you cannot clean the toilet because properly, because the water pressure is very low that comes from the hose. Okay, so second thing is when you want to flush the toilet and the toilet flush does not work properly because the water pressure is unstable. So the result is your product waste is still inside the toilet bowl, and you cannot flush it because the water pressure is very low, and it is eyesore to see the floating waves
The
inside the
floating
toilet
waste
bowl.
inside the toilet
Okay,
bowl.
so the cleaners and the workers also face the difficulty when the unstable water pressure, because of the unstable water pressure. So when the water is not enough or sufficient, they cannot clean the toilet properly. So the floor will remain dirty, and because the workers cannot clean it properly. Candidate B, what do you think about this?
I think, for me, I believe that the uncleanliness of the public toilet is more affected by the ineffective cleaning works by the cleaners or workers, because the cleaning works is done by the cleaners. So if the cleaners is lazy and not committed at all in their works, they will cause the uncleanliness of the public toilet. For example, most of public toilet had organized a schedule to make sure the toilet still clean, remain clean. So how if the cleaners themselves did not do their work properly, or they do not clean the toilet effectively? So even though the facilities is in good condition and the high pressure of water is provided, if the cleaners did not clean the toilet effectively, they not make sense, and the toilet will be very dirty and smelly.
Excuse me, candidate B. Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Did you want to say that the ineffective cleaning is very important to public toilet?
Yes, I think so, because if you know that the public toilet is already being provided with good condition, or a good condition of facilities and high pressure of water, and the people use it and the cleaning works is done by the cleaners. So there is no one clean the toilet, because it is the cleaners works. What do you think about it?
Okay, thank you, candidate B, for giving me a chance to talk. Okay. From my point of view, I think that irresponsible users can contribute to the uncleanness of public toilet. Why do I say that? It's because it's all come from human doing themselves. For example, can you imagine when the nature calls come suddenly, and you very wanted to use the public toilet at anywhere or any time? So you want to find the public toilet, right? So can you imagine that when you use the toilet, there are some cigarettes butt or tissue or pampers in the toilet bowl. It's very disgusting, you see,
Yeah.
right? For me, it's very uncomfortable, and it's my eye very sick. Macam like my eyes very uncomfortable lah untuk tengok, untuk see. Okay. So my second point is, when can you imagine that the public toilet facilities such as the hose pipe or the flush tank cannot function properly, such as the hose pipe are broken, and the flush tank cannot flush the water inside cannot flush the water to the toilet bowl. So our body waste cannot flush to the system, right?
Me, from what you have mentioned before, you said about the broken part and so on. I think the main reason for the uncleanliness of public toilet is affected by the poor toilet facilities. As you mentioned before, like you said it yourself, when the water pipe is broken and the users cannot use it properly, how? Sometimes it's not because the users don't want to clean the toilet properly, but because the poor toilet facilities. For example, when the water tap is broken and then a lot of water flows from it, and then it will cause like float. I mean the floor is soaked and wet, and it will become very dirty, and I also don't want to step on it. So I think that the poor toilet facilities contribute more to the uncleanness of public toilet.
Excuse me, Hindi. I think that as you say that the floor will be soaked and wet, it is the cleaner's responsibility to wash them. And can you imagine if the cleaners are lazy and they just wash with water, they do not brush it, they do not brush the toilet bowls, they not throw the rubbish from the sink or the toilet bowl, it will be dirty because it is their responsible to do the cleaning works.
I think I agree with the candidate C's point. Okay, because I think it's not because solely for the workers. We as the users play a big role to keep the toilet clean too. I think sometimes because when the workers have done their part, but they are still irresponsible users, so still the toilet remains unclean and dirty.
Yes. So, from my point of view, I want to emphasize that, like candidate B mentioned before, thank you candidate A, because you agree with my point. I want to emphasize that. Did you think the cleaner work daily for the public toilet clean?
No.
Yeah. Do you think so?
No.
They must be. They should be clean the public toilet in schedule, right? So it doesn't mean they are work daily, and we are such as public toilet users play a big role. Just like candidate A mentioned before, we play a big role to keep the clean of public toilets. So
Yeah, I think we comes to the agreement that the attitude of the public toilet users will affect the cleanness of public toilet. How about you? Do you agree with that?
yes, I agree.
How about you, candidate B?
So I also agree with it.
So, for the conclusion, we have concluded that the irresponsible users contribute a lot for the uncleanness of public toilet.
A major damage.
Yeah, as the major damage for the
Public toilet
Yeah.
cleanliness.
for the public toilet. Thank you for coming for today's discussion.
Thank you, candidate A and candidate B also. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.